Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome to Midday Meditation. This week, we're looking at actions and how does one perform actions as a spiritual being? And yesterday I said that if we perform the action as the spiritual being, I, the soul, am using this body to perform an action, then I don't get stuck in bondages of wanting particular outcomes. That's probably the fundamental secret to having satisfaction and success with my actions. It's I, the soul, am performing the action through my body. So today I'd like to look at the consequences of actions, because if we think about the consequences in advance, of course, we don't know what the consequences are going to be, usually. But the thinking about consequences in advance usually takes the form of, I want this particular consequence to happen. But instead, as a spiritual being, thinking about the consequences in advance means whatever the consequences of my actions are, I take responsibility for them. I take responsibility because once we perform an action, we are responsible. In a court of law, if you're driving and you hit a pedestrian, even if you didn't see the pedestrian, you're still liable. We're still liable. We have to accept the consequences of our actions. And so actions actually happen in chains. I do something, you do something, then I do something, then you do something, then somebody else does something, and somebody else does something. And I'll give you a for example. Let's say you go out tonight to a restaurant and you have dinner and you come home and you are sick to your stomach. All night long, you're sick to your stomach. So a couple of different things you could do. One thing is the next day you could contact the restaurant, let them know what happened, and then they could investigate. They could find out if there was a problem with the food that you ate. And then they might have to file a report with the health department. And they would probably, once everything is all straightened out, you might want to go and find out if you have some allergies that you didn't know about. Once everything is straightened out, they would probably welcome you back and say, please come, bring your friends. We'd like you to have a nice meal on us. That's one possible chain of actions that could start from you getting sick. Now, another chain of actions that could start, let's say you get sick the next morning, you pick up the telephone, you call your attorney and you say, I want to sue this restaurant. So then you set in motion a very different chain of actions. You're going to have a lot of expenses, you're going to have stress, you're going to have animosity. In the end, you might not be able to prove that the restaurant was responsible, so you end up with nothing. That's one possible outcome. And so it's all because of the way that we take responsibility for our actions. Whether the restaurant is at fault or not at fault, still we have a choice where to eat. And once we make that choice, we're setting a chain of actions into motion, and then we take responsibility for them. That's the spiritual approach. I take responsibility. The worldly approach is I try to get somebody else to take responsibility. And if we take that approach, we get a lot of conflict and unnecessary expense. We have very high insurance rates because of that. So the consequences of my actions. So what would be a good way to deal with the consequence of my action? Whatever I decide to do, I want to first detach, look at it, let my intellect look at it as a detached observer, meaning detached from my emotions, detached from my expectations, just see what happened, what would be the best course of action, and recognize then that if I do what I do with benevolence, with goodwill, I will get the good result that I will have peace of mind and I will feel good about myself and I won't waste any energy and I won't put myself in a position where I have to violate my own principles. So we'll practice seeing actions as chains today. To begin with, take a few deep, full, easy breaths. Breathing is a chain. We inhale and then we exhale. It's a simple chain, but we've been doing it all our lives. Inhale and then exhale. One breath leads to the other. After we inhale the consequences, there has to be an exhale. And after we exhale the consequences, there has to be an inhale. Very simple to understand consequences. And notice that there is no struggle in the breath. Very easy and light. Bring your awareness within now to the little being of light that you are. I am the peaceful being who lives in this body, a peaceful soul. I live here peacefully. I'm involved in all kinds of actions and activities. I use my body in many different and varied ways. And the being inside, am a peaceful being, a benevolent being, a cheerful being. This is how I enjoy my actions. The actions themselves can have some enjoyment in them, but not much. And when the action is over, the enjoyment is over. But if my enjoyment comes from applying my own qualities to the action, my own benevolence, my good wishes, my peace, if that's where my enjoyment comes from, when the action is over, I'm still enjoying myself. Nothing has changed inside. Bring your awareness into the little being of light that you are. And the center of the self is completely still and silent. There's no action in the center of the self. It's the only place that we can go to be completely free from action. It's useful to bring the awareness to that silent and still inner place where there is no action, and recognize that I don't need action to be well or to be happy or to be content. I can sit in this inner place with no action and I can be fine simply by invoking my own positive energies. Let the energy of contentment flow. We don't need anything to happen in order to be content. Content is natural for a soul who's a visitor in this world. I've brought all my necessary equipment with me. Content. I have eternal life. I have a good intellect. I have a clean heart. have many virtues, and therefore I am content. I may be extra content because of things I've done in the world, but that's all extra. So I don't even have to consider anything I've done in the world right now. Feel content. Let the energy of contentment flow. I am content with myself. I'm doing my best to have a good life, and I am content. I am content with this body. It's not perfect, but it's very good. It serves me well. It learns new skills. It allows me to have an interesting life. I'm content with this body. I'm content with all the other players in my drama. They all play their parts very well. Drama has action, it has surprises, it has sudden turns, ups and downs. All are part of a good drama. So I'm satisfied with all the other actors, all the other characters. Content. I'm content with nature. Nature is trying her best to be balanced and harmonious and bountiful. Nature has amazing resilience. Nature is still to this very moment sustaining life on earth. I'm content with nature. When I feel content, I can accept any consequence of my actions, even the most surprising. If I'm content, I can accept. But if I am in any way discontent, I will project that onto the consequences of my actions. And no matter how good the consequences are, I will find something that I don't like. So it's very useful to practice contentment. I am content with whatever life gives me. I can deal with it, I can work with it. I won't give up. I can learn from it. I can also share the energy of contentment. When I'm content, I radiate that energy. People are very anxious nowadays. Will other people be okay with them or not like them or be upset with them? When we are content, it puts other people at ease. They can relax, be themselves. My contentment brings out the best in me, but it can also bring out the best in others. And most important is to be content in my relationship with God, to not blame God for my difficulties or for the difficulties of others, because I understand that actions happen in chains. And sometimes we can't trace something back to the action that started it. We can start something in motion, and then we forget that we were the ones who started it because we get caught up in the little episodes along the way. And then it's possible to blame God. Why did God allow this to happen? When in fact, everything that happens because of some action chain. Series of actions happened that took us to the present moment. So content in my relationship with God, because God doesn't make bad things happen, but God gives us the love and the power to be able to deal with them successfully. God doesn't create action chains, but God gives the energy that can change the direction of an action chain. Let yourself fly now to the home of light. And be in the company of the supremely detached soul, the one who never gets involved in action, our action, but who inspires with positive energy, inspires us to take the action chain in a good direction. And if we can do this, then we get the satisfaction of many, many actions into the future being benevolent because we turned the corner and became benevolent. Very good karmic return for that, karmic credit for turning around a bad situation. But we need positive energy to do that. And that's what God gives altruistically, nothing needed in return. The energy to turn around an action chain that went off in the wrong direction. And if we want to put on the brakes of that action chain, first thing is to have good wishes, pure feelings for myself and the actions that I'm about to perform. and also for any others who might become involved. Good wishes, pure feelings. Be inspired by God's pure energy, and also send out pure energy that can inspire others to turn around their action chains that are going the wrong way. It's as if we get a current from God, a current of positive energy, love, and power. Now bring your awareness back into the present moment, but hold on to the thought that we can get that current of love and power from God anytime and use it to turn around an action chain. Often, when we perform an action, we're not aware of what chain we're starting. And a little bit down the line, we see what the chain is. We might say, well, this isn't what I wanted. So we have to turn it around. We have to take responsibility for the action, turn it around, take love and power from God, have good wishes and pure feelings, and then turn the corner. Om Shanti. Our blessing today. There's the card. And it says, you radiate with the beauty of a peaceful mind and a healthy heart. You radiate with the beauty of a peaceful mind and healthy heart. So hold this blessing also. Keep radiating. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sister Shanti.